For those of you who don't know, there's a small Doug that lives inside the larger Doug. That smaller Doug is known as Practical Doug, and it guides most of Bigger Doug's decisions. And a lot of our fans like to ask Practical Doug questions because he's just so goddamn practical. You can ask Practical Doug a question if you join us in our live stream. You can join our Discord. You can hashtag Ask Practical Doug on any social media, and ask Doug what you need. I'm actually going to forego anything that was given in the Discord. I think earlier Slotty asked a really good Ask Practical Doug question, and it was, what does Practical Doug think of Wolf of Wall Street Doug? How is Practical Doug handling this new carefree, swinging in the breeze, I'm playing the stock market Doug?
Well,
I'm on my way to owning a boat, Doug.
Oh, how dare you?
I'm just saying.
How dare you?
The crowd. You roll with the crowd. You got to play the game.
I will say this much. I was listening to a podcast today, The Honeydew, with
Ryan Sickler.
Thank you. I was like, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Nope, that's a quarterback. And Nick Swartzen was on there, and he told a hilarious story about how when the pandemic hit, he was in quarantine in his sister's basement, and he had forgotten that he had booked a trip to Key West. And a few weeks out, Expedia was like, "Hey, guess what, Nick? Hope your bags are packed because he goes, oh shit, I forgot about this." And he called the resort. He's like, "Are you guys even open?" They're like, "Yeah." He's cool. So he stopped off in South Carolina to meet a friend and be like, "Hey, he's thinking about moving there." He's like, "I'll be back in 10 days and we can move on." He goes, and I ended up staying in Key West for a year and a half. And it made me think about, I visited Key West before. I'm like, how amazing would it be to live there? And the first thing that popped in my head is like, I'd probably have to own a boat because it's basically an island. I was like, that would suck.
It's a journey to get there. Yes, you would probably have to own a boat. Yes.
See, that's what it's like with Practical Doug living in my head. You all got a taste of it. Of what happened literally yesterday as I was listening to this story.
Oh, fuck.
But I have been dipping my toes into the stock market. I've been heavily researching stuff, and I'm just dabbling. I've had some wins. I've eaten some shit, so I feel like I've definitely been baptized. I'm more up than I am down, which is great. But definitely, I love how there's now, you guys have invented Wolf of Wall Street Doug, which now that I think about it, that guy does kind of exist. Practical Doug and Wolf of Wall Street Doug are pretty good partners because Practical Doug is looking at it from a non-emotional state.
Okay.
It's what makes the most sense to do. Wolf of Wall Street Doug is how can we get the most out of this? And sometimes they're aligned, and sometimes Wolf of Wall Street Doug wants more, gets a little too excited, starts thinking about the possibilities of, you know what? What if we bet more on this? Practical Doug's like, you only lose what you put in. And Wolf of Wall Street Doug's like, yeah, but if you double this, you can get double the returns.
Right.
And Practical Doug's like, pump the brakes there, buddy, because what if this goes tits up? I'm
not gonna lie, man. This sounds like a goddamn nightmare.
It can be.
To be in a tug of war between these two entities is just, it sounds horrible.
Here's the thing. I'm not a gambler. I don't enjoy gambling. It's never been fun for me to be like, yeah, bet it all on red. Like, I don't necessarily enjoy doing that. But I understand. I've gotten a glimpse into why people do it because I've had 2 very good days of trading in the last 2 weeks.
Rag.
Where I've been like, whew. And I am not trading large amounts of money. And I've seen amazing returns where I'm like, okay, I see how the rich get richer. It makes sense now as they take their money and just play this more and they get more money. I don't understand.
Doug is now part of the 1%. He's gotten rich. You heard it here.
I am playing with a very small amount of money, and I just imagine people that have portfolios that are
$20,000 isn't that small amount.
How dare you?
Don't be modest.
How dare you think I could even remotely
$50,000 is not that little.
How dare you think I could even convince Jill to let me do that? Although, to be honest, I was really nervous. I was like, I really wanted to try this out. And I'm like, Jill's probably not going to let me do this. But I was like, hey, would you be cool if I took a small amount?
Yeah.
And she goes, yes, do something with it. because it's just sitting there and I don't know what to do with it. Please do it. She goes, I trust you. I know you'll do your research. You're not an idiot. And I was like, okay, cool. And
so now the pressure's up.
No, really. I mean, I've been very honest with her. Like, I've sent her my wins, but I have also been like, I ate shit today. Like,
could you? Let me ask you this from a practical Doug standpoint. Could you pivot to doing this full time? Could you make a career out of this?
Here's the thing. I get a lot of help right now. I do a lot of research. I am on forums and discords where masters are at work. And you add on top of that, there's still an element of chance with this that you can't fully predict. You can anticipate a lot of things, and I am learning a lot. I'm not going to lie. If I had a portfolio of like $150,000 and I've made the returns that I've made right now, yeah. I mean, we had the guy Daniel on a few episodes back who was like the day trader, who is a friend of Slotty's, who used to work in the car dealership and became a day trader. I'm like, how the hell do you do that? I get it now. Like, I totally understand how and why people do this. The people that I'm like sort of like learning from, 100%, this is what they do every day. They do nothing else.
Yeah.
And they're trading futures, which is insanely risky, but high reward. There's guys that do crypto. That is, again, a whole world I haven't even begun to understand, but I fucking get it. If you have a significantly large portfolio and you trade it smartly, you make returns, you pull some out to pay your bills, and you keep going. Like, it's, I mean, when you hear people like, oh yeah, man, I make 10 grand a month. I'm like, bullshit. I can see how that's possible. 100%. I could see how that's possible if you play the stocks right. And it's not just, oh, I'm going to buy Tesla at 800 and sell it at 1,000. No, it's options trading where you're betting on whether the price is going to go up or down, and you minimize your losses, and your profits are exponential depending on how right you are within a certain time frame. It's absolutely crazy. And I have personally seen it in action, and I'm like, God damn. And again, I am trading such piddly amounts.
Minute minute amounts in comparison to everything else.
When you go to buy or sell your calls and your puts, which is basically you're betting whether or not you think the price is going to go up or whether it's going to go down, the base amount of contracts you can buy is 10. Typically speaking, if you buy 10 and the average price for a contract is 3, that is $3,000. All right, that's the default setting. I go, I'll buy 1, please. 1, 2, maybe. If the price is lower, I'll buy 3, maybe 4. But the idea that people are probably trading at 20 contracts,
right?
30 contracts, some of them doing 100 contracts, so they can, I'll take out 20% at this rate and then another 20% here, and I'm like, I'll buy 1. 1, please.
I say this to that. This is the reason people have jobs as brokers and hedge fund managers and things like that, because people like me see the benefit in something like this, but I have zero interest in learning the ins and outs anywhere near enough to do even what you're doing. Like, there's absolutely not, like, it is so, when you describe to me, because every once in a while Doug will message me and be like, all right, so here's how today is breaking down, and kind of give me his wins and losses and like what he's looking and what he's learned that day. And I'm like, dude, this is so beyond. There's so much that goes into this. It makes my head, it gives me anxiety when you are explaining it to me. And I'm just like, I can't. The reason that people have jobs is because I will not do this.
Well, that's the thing too, is like in my undergrad, I learned the fundamentals of this. I learned what stock was. I learned what options were. I learned what calls and puts were. I did a portfolio investment class. I was not great at it, but I understand the concepts. Seeing it in practice is an entirely different animal and beast where I'm like, and I'm trying to learn, and dude, it is like reading a different language. Like, it's trying to understand. Again, I just little by little, I'm I'm making mistakes. I'm like, good lesson to learn. Again, I'm not betting the farm on this. I'm not dumping it all in there. It's definitely fucking exciting to make a bet. Or I shouldn't say it kind of is making a bet, more or less. You know,
it is. Like, let's call it what it is.
You're taking
it. Wolf said it's high class gambling. That's what this is.
You're buying a position, Justin. And when you buy your position and you see that position doing extremely well, dude, my heart rate, you know, I'm sitting there going like, fuck, I got a meeting in 10 minutes, dude. I gotta keep, like, I have all my monitors working. And I'm like, all right, what's going on here? How's it going right now? Because I need to see what's going on to sell or buy or do things like that. It's intense. It's really intense.
When you're playing roulette, you're buying a position on them. You're buying, red 5. So it's gambling. It's what it is. You're gambling. You don't like gambling. You do.
No, I really don't, because gambling is truly chance. Except for like things like poker. This
you're fool to think otherwise.
Here's the thing, though.
You're sounding like an addict who's justifying his gambling addiction.
Here's the thing, Justin. I've got a sure thing going. Okay.
I love it.
I got a sure thing going. All right.
You gotta listen.
Listen. I've got a system. Okay. I'm learning a lot. I have a lot of input from people that know what they're doing, and I'm quietly observing, seeing what they're doing, and I still can't figure out how to read a chart super actively. But the idea of there's a lot of different philosophies. The philosophy here is following the trends, and a lot of things are cyclical. And if you play it right, and you're looking at the right stocks, and you can kind of check them with their indices and things like that, you can see trends and you can anticipate. They can still go tits up, but it's better than being like, let's throw it in roulette. You know what I mean?
You could also sit at a table and count cards, Doug.
You could. Absolutely. I would liken this more to poker, because poker takes some skill. Blackjack, I've never understood like skill with blackjack. I felt like
it all comes in counting the cards.
Okay, there you go. So
I mean, it's knowing on average if this is showing and these things have already been played. It's
doing stats. Yeah. So it's the same thing, right? You're making the best thing based on Wolf. On the next episode of Mind Gap Podcast, we hold an intervention for Doug and his gambling problem. Well, this has been a fun ass practical, Doug. Thanks.